Hello. Picture this scenario. It is 3 in the morning. The house is quiet and you are exhausted. But instead of sleeping, you are wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Your mind is miles away, stuck in a coffee shop from 3 days ago or a meeting from 5 years ago. You are replaying a conversation over and over again. But this time you say the perfect line. This time you don't stumble. This time you win. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Almost everyone does this, but for some, this mental replay isn't just a fleeting thought. It is a repetitive loop that dictates their mood. Today, we are going to explore why we replay conversations, what our brains are trying to achieve, and the fine line between healthy reflection and destructive rumination. To understand this, we have to look at how the brain handles uncertainty. The human brain is a prediction machine. It craves safety. When a conversation doesn't go as planned or we feel we left something unsaid, the brain categorizes that interaction as an open loop. Psychology calls this the Zeigarnik effect. People remember interrupted tasks better than completed ones. A conversation that ended awkwardly feels like an unfinished task. Your brain brings it up not to torture you, but in a misguided attempt to solve the problem. This is where the inner scriptwriter comes out. We rewrite the scene. We edit the dialogue. In the safety of our imagination, we are articulate and safe from judgment. If you find this topic fascinating and you believe that understanding our own minds helps us navigate the world better, consider liking this video. It is a small gesture, but it helps the algorithm show this content to others who might be overthinking right now. Now, let's dig into the emotional root. Often, chronic replaying is linked to social anxiety and perfectionism. For a perfectionist, a conversation is a performance, and like any performance, it is subject to a review after the curtains close. This is what psychologists call post-event processing. During this processing, we suffer from the spotlight effect. We assume the other person is analyzing our words just as closely as we are. We imagine they are at home thinking about that one awkward joke we made. The reality is quite different. They are likely too busy thinking about their own awkward moments to remember ours, but the anxious brain magnifies the mistake, turning a small social hiccup into a catastrophe. This brings us to l'esprit de l'escalier, or staircase wit. It refers to thinking of the perfect comeback when it is too late. The reason is physiological. During a tense conversation, your brain may trigger a mild fight or flight response. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, temporarily shuts down. Later, when you are safe at home, the logic comes back online and the perfect sentence appears. You replay the conversation to prove to yourself that you are smart enough. You just couldn't access that intelligence in the moment. I am curious about your experience when you are stuck in this loop. Is it usually about winning an argument you lost, or is it about fixing an embarrassing mistake? Let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to see if we tend to replay conflict or embarrassment more often. There is also a neurological component. When we are not focused on a task, our brain enters the default mode network. This network thinks about ourselves and the past. For anxious people, this network is hyperactive and drifts toward negative thoughts. Essentially, when you stop working, your brain's screensaver activates, and unfortunately, that screensaver is a highlight reel of your awkward moments. However, we must distinguish between reflection and rumination. Reflection is helpful. It looks like this. I spoke too aggressively. Next time I will take a breath. That is solution-oriented. Rumination, on the other hand, is circular. It looks like this. Why did I say that? I am so stupid. They must hate me. It focuses on distress, not solutions. Rumination leads to deeper grooves of anxiety. It reinforces the idea that you are socially incompetent, even if the evidence suggests otherwise. Why is it so hard to stop? Because replaying feels productive. We trick ourselves into thinking that by worrying, we prevent future pain. But we aren't analyzing, we are just reliving. We are engaging in emotional cutting, reopening the wound to see if it still hurts. If you are finding value in this analysis and want to help grow this community, please consider sharing this video. You never know who might need to hear that their overthinking is actually a normal mechanism. So, how do we break the loop? The goal isn't to never think about the past. The goal is to catch the replay when it turns harmful. One tool is distancing. Instead of replaying the scene through your own eyes, visualize it as a fly on the wall. Watch the two people talking. When you zoom out, the emotions become less intense. You might notice the awkward pause wasn't visible on the outside. You might see the other person wasn't judging you, but was simply confused or indifferent. Another method is to interrupt the default mode network. Since replay happens when your mind wanders, engage in a task that requires focus. A puzzle, a book, or a conversation. You have to physically shift your brain from replay mode to engagement mode. We also have to practice self-compassion. The voice that replays conversations is usually a bully. You would never talk to a friend the way you talk to yourself. If a friend said something silly, you would say, "Don't worry, nobody noticed." But to ourselves, we say, "It was terrible." Recognizing this double standard is the first step toward silencing the inner critic. It is also worth noting that replaying conversations can be a sign of high empathy. You care about how you made the other person feel. You are worried about the connection. While the anxiety is unpleasant, the root cause is a desire to be a good person. The key is realizing you can be a good person without being a perfect performer. Ultimately, the conversations we replay are ghosts. They no longer exist. The person you were talking to has moved on. They are not holding on to it. You are the only one keeping that timeline alive. Letting go of the replay is an act of forgiveness for yourself. It is accepting that you are a human who improvises life without a script, and that mistakes are the price of admission for connecting with others. I hope this video gave you a new perspective. If you feel a little lighter or understand your mind better after watching this, then I have done my job. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe so we can explore more of the human mind together. I'll see you in the next video.